good evening. This is Wallace Gator Bradley, the president of United in Peace, Inc., the host of a great show known as the Bradley Report, the greatest producer in the world, and the director of this show, who's also the United in Peace chairman. And by the grace of God, I'm blessed that she's my wife, and that's Miss Terry Marsh. We got a very interesting show. I want to say to God be the glory. And I see I got a call on the line. The great Secretary of State, Jesse White. Hey, sir.
Glad to be on board, sir.
Hey, I'm glad. I know you got a busy schedule, and I appreciate you calling in to this very important show. The whole country know that you came out and you and Walter Burnett endorsed Toni Preckwinkle. With the time that you're allowing me, could you please share with my viewing and listening audience why you, sir, feel that Toni Preckwinkle is the right woman and the people's champion?
Well, Gator, I had the great pleasure of serving as a Cook County Recorder of Deeds at the second largest Recorder of Deeds office, and that comes under the president of the county board. And I realized early on that Cook County was the second largest county in the United States. And of course, LA County is first. Harris County, which covers Houston, Texas, is third. And of course, it puts the president of the county board in a position by which she is looked upon with honor and respect. And I say that because when it comes to running the city of Chicago, and you have a person who can run the county board, I believe that the city of Chicago is in pretty good shape because we're talking about someone who has leadership qualities, who knows how to take care of a budget, who knows how to get along with all of the bodies that are required in order to pass the meaningful pieces of legislation. So I'm in support of Toni Preckwinkle because I believe that she has what it takes. She was served in city council, and she's been a president of the county board for a number of years. And I just believe that she's the person that we need in order to run probably the third largest city in the United States, Chicago. This is not a time when you're going to put someone in there who's going to get involved with learning how to administer a city of this magnitude. We want someone who will come in on day one and put this wonderful city of ours back on sound footing.
I'm glad you said that. You know, I watched the debate yesterday, and it was a learning curve for a lot of people. A lot of people came to me and said, you know, Gator, I may not like Toni, and I know you do like Toni, but one thing we have in common, we know Toni. No one knows about Miss Lightfoot. And that was displayed in their first televised debate. You know, and they told me to tell the president, Toni Preckwinkle, to please share, when they do their mailing, the truth about who Lori Lightfoot is. And one of the things they know is that Toni has a criminal justice reform project. I'll say project because it's in process, as opposed to someone that's coming and say what they would think about doing for criminal justice reform. And one thing I know about Toni, she's now reaching out to the people, to the voters. You know what I mean? And if you got anything else that you want to add, Secretary, because I know you en route.
I do. First of all, when people talk about change, President Barack Obama talks about change, and he came on board and he made a lot of changes in government. But then here comes Reiner, who is our former governor. He said he was going to change the lay of the land when it came to the state of Illinois. And then President Trump said he was going to make a change. Well, when you got Reiner and you have Trump, change isn't always the best thing to deal with. And I just hope that the people of the city of Chicago will understand that this is no time for us to be experimenting with someone who is a neophyte, someone who has not functioned in the capacity of being an administrator of a large corporation like the city of Chicago or the county of Cook. And I'm just asking everyone within the sound of my voice to seriously consider supporting Toni Preckwinkle for mayor of the wonderful city of Chicago. And I also want to thank you too, ladies and gentlemen, for allowing me to receive the greatest number of votes in the history of the state of Illinois during the last election. And not only did you grace me with your wonderful, wonderful votes, but you gave me a sense of confidence and you inspired me to continue to function as your Secretary of State in a manner which all of us could be proud. I believe that when you take on a job, you should take on a responsibility that goes with it. I also believe that when you come through this world and you become successful, you give back. But every day you must do something good for someone. I believe that Toni Preckwinkle is the right person at the right time handling the city of Chicago. And I'm going to do all I can to contact my neighbors and friends and encourage them to come out and vote and make sure they cast a ballot for my good friend, Toni Preckwinkle.
Sir, I want to say I appreciate you, and I want to say, Father God, protect Secretary Jesse White, Illinois Secretary Jesse White, the longest serving Secretary of Illinois in its 200-year history, who happened to be African American, but whose last name is White. To God be the glory, sir.
Well, Gator, listen, you're my friend, and so is Toni. And I just want you to enjoy this wonderful day, and I wish Toni Preckwinkle only the best, because when she is elected as our mayor, our quality of life will improve. And of course, a lot of people say it in closing, they want to talk about the sweet tax. She's not concerned about the sweet tax anymore, and I just hope that the people will understand that she's not going to try to reinstitute that tax.
Right.
She experimented with it. She didn't do well with it, and she's not going to revisit it. But she is going to make sure that you're proud of the fact that you cast a ballot on her behalf, because the people of the city of Chicago will benefit from her leadership.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you for giving, thank you for caring, sir, and thank you for making a difference.
I appreciate you,
my
sir.
neighborhood, you the man.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Wow. That's what I'm talking about. Respect for the work that we are blessed by God to do, and that is serving the people, informing the people of the truth. And one of the things is this. When I saw that debate, it was real interesting. When I realized that name calling is not the manifestation of trying to create a conversation to bring some understanding or how we need to work together as a city to find solutions to our problems. I realized that Lori wasn't abreast of the issues because she didn't make the decision to run for mayor until maybe a year or two ago, if that long. And when I found out the law firm she was working in, and I realized that's the same law firm that Daddy was working in, and the community realized that there was a plan, not a conspiracy, there was a plan to try to make it where Bill Daley could slide in because the African American vote was split. Okay? And they pushed Lori in the forefront and made it where she was under the radar. And how can you be under the radar when the media had the responsibility to check all the candidates that's running to inform the people of all the candidates? So how can Lori say that she slid under the radar? How could the media say she slid up under the radar? Okay? That should have been far-fetched to know that she was from the same law firm. I'm quite sure they asked for her resume or her bio when she went before the editorial boards. Okay? But I thank God that now people are realizing that, hey, Toni is the right one, the right woman for this job. So we can't get caught up on it's two African American women running and it shouldn't make a difference who win. It do make a difference. There's no other that was in the race when it was 14 that's more qualified than Toni Preckwinkle to be the mayor of the city of Chicago, who's more purposely focused on criminal justice reform, jobs, education, health care, public safety, and fairness in contracts. And one of the things that I was putting out a yard sign for President Preckwinkle, mayoral candidate Preckwinkle. And a guy come out of the building and he said, hey, I'm glad to see you, Gator, putting up this sign, because after I have watched the debate yesterday and I saw that commercial about Lori Lightfoot, and it was a learning experience for me and my wife, because we found ourselves stuck saying we don't know who we should vote for. And then it became evident. And he asked that President Preckwinkle keep putting out that informative information so we all can know why we choose Preckwinkle over this woman, Lori Lightfoot, someone that we didn't know. Caller, I see you. Could you please state your name, voice your opinion? It's respected on this show.
James.
Hey, James, how you doing, sir?
It's all up to God who he want in office. It's all up to him who he want in office. They can vote all they want, and it's really up to God who he want in office, because he control everything.
Hey, James, I agree with you. But can I ask you a personal thing? Sometimes God works through people, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm of the firm belief that God wants Toni to be mayor. And I believe it to the point that I ask God to touch the people of Chicago's heart so that they can go in there and vote for Toni Preckwinkle. That they don't get confused by what Willie Wilson is doing. A good man. A good man. So all those that standing with Lori Lightfoot, knowing that Lori Lightfoot is not the right candidate, they got a right to their choice. But we shouldn't have to wait another 30 years because we didn't vote for Toni Preckwinkle and our grandchildren catching hell because those African Americans who are leaders led them down the wrong road. At a time when the mayor's going to have the responsibility over the implementation of that decree about bad officers, helping make them good officers, and sitting there when it's a time where that fraternal order police contract that was used as if it was a law, where it can't be changed to help better police relationships with the citizens in the city of Chicago, which is simple. They shouldn't be able to get away with murder. They shouldn't be able to cover up murders. That's the first two things, if it's in that contract, they need to take out of there. We can trust Toni Preckwinkle to stand on that because she's standing on that now. Where was Lori Lightfoot during the Laquan McDonald piece? Lori Lightfoot didn't present the autopsy to the family so the family can give it to the activists to demand the tape. Now that it's understood how she was getting the money, Lori, and I'm sure more truth is going to come out, but I'm just saying this. We have to do the right thing. And as I gave my analogy last week, say, James, that it's me and you in the room. You got four people with you, I got four with me. And they saying, but you're the only one in the room that can read. We all trying to get out the room. We ain't got common sense to go back out the door that we came in. We saying, if only James and Gator can get together and they come together in unity and they can lead us out the room. But you're the only one, James, that can read. You read the sign to say exit. This way. So I'm paid not to agree with you so that we don't get out the room. So what I'm saying, James will be the right man to help us get out the room because he's the only one that can read. You follow what I'm saying? The same thing with this voting. Lori knows nothing about city government. She don't have the experience. Toni know about city government. She had 19 or 18 years as a sitting alderman. Then became the county board president. So she know how to work a budget of government. She knows she had to take the chances and make the decisions that everybody's not going to agree with. And another thing, she became the chairman of the Cook County Democratic Party, which everybody's saying is the machine. When anybody that get in there, if they reach the heights that Toni reached, they will be over the machine. The only thing wrong with the machine is sometimes you have the wrong people that's in charge of the machine. Toni is the only one that got a record of fighting for affordable housing. When Walter Burnett and Secretary of State Jesse White endorsed her the other day, and Walter Burnett explained how him and Toni came together against Daley for affordable housing. She got a track record of having over, I believe, 1,500 public housing, not public housing, but affordable housing in the ward that she once was the alderman of. Lori ain't got nothing of that magnitude. So it's a no-brainer. If you don't like Toni or if you like Toni, one thing for sure, you know Toni. Toni. Don't know nothing about Lightfoot. And the more you find out about her, when she got on that debate, and people saw it, they want to thank Toni for educating them. With that, I'm going to go to another story because y'all know how I feel about Toni. Don't choke, vote. And by the grace of God, elect Toni Preckwinkle the mayor. Something else that's been in the news. You got Reverend Helen Sinclair, 98 years old, and she move around better than me, and she has the time for those that's doing time. She go from penitentiary to penitentiary. A lot of us, there's ex-felons who may have had children that got caught up in the system or grandchildren got caught up in the system. All of us knew the timely work of Reverend Helen Sinclair. And I pray that the governor understand the value of the wisdom of Reverend Helen Sinclair and reach out to her to get some of that wisdom to help reform the Illinois Department of Corrections. Put back training within the institutions so individuals, when they come out, they can be prepared to get into the work system. That's why I love Toni Preckwinkle's program of helping to train young adults as well as their parents to be prepared for the job market in the city of Chicago. And as y'all know about, like I said earlier, the clash of the mayoral families and the tensions that was between those two women. You can't call individuals names like they're a liar, they're a cockroach, and think that still have integrity when you get caught off guard when there's a matter of truth in a debate that was seen by millions, definitely hundreds of thousands. So I want to say this and put that to bed about the tension, but I love Mother Helen Sinclair. Queen Mother cares for inmates. 98 years. I never forget Reverend Sinclair said, Gator, I saw the tape when she was over in Israel, when me and my wife had renewed our wedding vows over in Israel. Bathed one another in the Jordan River, went to the Sea of Galilee as guests of Rabbi Ben Ami, but it was Prince Asiel Ben Israel that took us over there. And he was the one that gave me my wife as I married her for the second time. And Reverend Sinclair said when she saw that, she knew she had to go over there to Israel. Because the things that people read about in the Holy Quran and in the Bible is there. The Mount of Beatitude, the Dome on the Rock, the Wailing Wall, the Jordan River, the Dead Sea, the walls of Jericho, what's left of Solomon's temple. All that is there. That's real. And when you walk that land, you should make it a point in your life to go and do a sabbatical. I think that's the right word. Go there and I guarantee you that when you touch that land, you're going to cry. Tears of joy that God allowed you to be over in that land. And it makes me realize, I have to wonder, where is the soul? Where is the soul? And you realize the soul is really the bottom of your feet. Because when you touch that land, it comes through your soul, the feeling. Friend of mine, he's no longer here. He was a BD. I was a GD. And we had worked together because Larry Hoover and Shorty Freeman and Minister Rico and Jeff Ford and others came together up under the guise of United in Peace, and they have made me the spokesman, if you will, about pushing unity in the community. And Minister Fontaine came over there with me. Howard Salfo was there with me. and they were my best men. And so when we got to the Mount of Beatitude, we realized when we was over in Israel, different countries, if you will, had like carved certain places in Israel, like Beatitude is like the Italian government, I believe it is. They had a responsibility of protecting that plot of land along with Israel's government. And so it was a chain that you really weren't supposed to go under, whatever it is. But me and that brother, Mr. Fontaine, we went there and we saw it said, "Blessed are the peacemakers." And it was important for us to shake hands in unity. I got a minute to go. I want to wrap it up. I miss Mr. Fontaine. I want to say, brothers and sisters, we all got to come together in peace. We got to elect Toni Preckwinkle because we know her, even if we don't like her or like her. We know her, and we know she's the right woman, the people's champion. And with that, I want to say, to God be the glory. Vote, don't choke. Elect Toni Preckwinkle, the mayor of the city of Chicago, April 2nd, 2019, but March 20th, 2019 is early voting.